Welcome back to the Suzuki XR Championship at Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia. It's the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. It's round 2 of 10 for the 2017 season. We're getting ready for Superbike, and we're going to take a look at Super Pole highlights, Jason, because Super Pole is how we end up getting our starting grid. If you saw it on Connect this morning, Dunlop tire technicians taking the track temperature, and off we went.
Yeah, Matthew Schultz, perfect morning here. The wind, it was very, very cool as far as mornings here go at Atlanta some days, and we saw Raj get out early. You noticed he's got that red stripe tire. This was his initial run, and at this point here, he had set provisional pole before he had actually got on his qualifying tire. So these guys all have a red stripe, which is kind of a semi-soft kind of tire that they're going to go out there and get their first little run done, 2 laps. And you can see here
he made it through
that
the second split, and I never saw him make it through the third.
This is where
so
Cameron came on his red
back into the pit.
red tire also
back
at this
into
point.
the pit straight out. So Hayes at the
And now you got Tony Elias. Now, if you pay attention here, Tony's on that yellow stripe tire on the back there of his bike. This is his qualifying lap, and he was getting ready to lay down a great marking lap of a 24.8. Now, at this point, Raj had already gone 24.9. Tony's on his good lap. Checkered flag was out. We're kind of wondering, where's Cameron? Cameron had gone out very late, but his crew had done such a good job just keeping everything calm, and he landed out late at 24.5. And the interesting part about that was he only had one fast sector as far as the whole field is concerned. Second and third sectors, other people actually owned those fastest times, and he was able to still set pole at 24.5.
All right, now joining us for Superbike on pit lane is Terry Lee, and she's with our pole sitter. Terry?
Thanks, guys. Cameron Beaubier, it's your second year in a row in pole position here at Road Atlanta. How do you feel going into race 1?
I'm feeling good. My R1's working great here this weekend. I'm just having a lot of fun riding it, and yeah, the team, everyone's working really hard, and want to get a win for them. You know, it's going to be a tough race though. You know, Tony and Roger and Josh are riding really good. It's going to be close, but we'll see how it goes. I just want to kind of settle in and see how it is towards the end of the race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Very typical Cameron Beaubier, right? He likes to talk about settling into a race pace and seeing what the other riders are going to do and start to formulate his race strategy on the racetrack. A look at Tony Elias, who qualified second. He was also the race 1 winner here back in 2016, running that HJC Boba Fett helmet.
Stretching himself on his motorcycle. So, yeah, let's get down to Terry and talk to a guy I think could give these guys some trouble today, Terry.
I think you can, guys. Josh Herron, you said to me before qualifying, your aim, your target was to qualify 5th, and here you are.
Yeah, it worked out kind of weird, huh? Feels a lot better to be 5th on the grid than 13th at COTA. You know, we had a rough weekend there. Guys have been working really hard trying to get this thing ready, you know, with just a lack of testing this whole off season. So we're slowly but surely getting up towards the front. You know, it's going to be a hard track for sure. Struggling a little bit with arm pump this weekend, but I think we found some stuff to help out. But I think everybody's struggling with that too. So we're all kind of in the same boat, but I think you know, we got a good spot right here. Hopefully we can just stick with these guys through the race and try and hang on the whole way.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Josh Herron could be the spoiler in all this. Well, as we head to break, we had a chance to ask some of the top riders in the MotoAmerica Superbike class about their impressions of Road Atlanta.
Turn 2, 3, 4. Coming out of turn 1, leading into 2 and 3, all the switchbacks right there, just because it's a really hard part of the track, really technical, real tight.
The S is, I mean, it's iconic, like down the hills, winding back and forth, and then you come up.
You know, you come out of 1, you get all that elevation, and then go up over 2 and 3 is, it's just a really tough part of the circuit, you know, is a lot of flicking back and forth. So the guys that are fit are going to be strong there at the end of the race, and you know, that's probably why it's my favorite.
Welcome back to the Suzuki XR Championship at Road Atlanta here in Georgia. Here's a look at the starting grid for the MotoAmerica Superbike Pizzazz Superstock 1000. It's Cameron Beaubier on pole, Tony Elias, and Roger Hayden making up your front row.
Yep, Josh Hayes, Josh Herron, Matthew Schultz, first Superstock rider there. In 6th is Matthew doing a great job. Bobby Fong, who we saw at COTA run so well. Kyle Wyman, Jake Lewis on the outside of row 3. Then Jake Gagne, Danny Eslick. Sylvain Barry is scrubbed from this race. Greg, he had a big accident this morning. They took him away for some precautionary things. Row 5, Cameron Peterson also I don't think is making the grid. He had a big accident yesterday and wrecked his bike. Bryce Prince, Dave Anthony. Then we got Hayden Gillen, Max Flinders, and Anthony Kaczynski to round out our field. Row 6 there. So missing a couple guys, one due to a bike, one due to a little bit of injury.
For more on that, let's go down to Terry Lee. Terry?
Yeah, thanks, Greg and Jason. Yeah, I talked to the guys there about Sylvan Barrier, his team. They took him to the hospital for precautionary reasons, as you mentioned, but it's a good thing they did. They determined there was some internal bleeding. He is in surgery right now as they're looking to repair his spleen. He also broke a couple ribs, and we'll keep communications open with the team and get an update as to when he's going to be out of surgery.
All right, thanks for that update. Heartbreak for the Frenchman and the Scheibe Racing Hayes Brakes team because he was going really great here considering his first time to Road Atlanta. He loved this track and he was going really well. Let's go to the Kawasaki keys to the race, Jason.
Hope he gets better soon. Look, importance of a good start here at Road Atlanta. I can't stress it enough. When you go from this start line, it gets very narrow up through 1, 2, 3, 4. You get off the line bad, you're going to get stuck behind people. Next thing, can Herron run with the top 4? That's a real big question for me because he's done literally no testing. They've got no time on that bike. Those guys went to COTA. They got 2 results, even though you heard him say he qualified 13th, got 2 results. He's here a lot faster. Superstock battle. Who's going to challenge Bobby Fong? That's the question right now. It looks like Matthew Schultz is leading that train as far as that goes. I expect to see Jake Lewis up there. Danny Essick, even though he's got to come from a row behind, expect to see him there too. So, and for me, who of the Superstock guys is maybe going to try to go with these front 4? And I think today there'll be 5. I think Josh Herron's got a little something for these guys as far as race pace early. We'll see how that goes as the race wears on. But a couple other guys too. Josh Hayes looked very good on race tires. He's looking to bounce back from kind of a disappointing COTA.
Plus, you know what, Josh Herron on that Superbike, well, these 4 guys, the 2 Yamahas and 2 Suzuki front runners, are used to racing with each other and they keep it nice and tidy. But Herron is known to throw it in there. All right, so the red lights go on here. Revs are going up. Clutch is in. Launch control is on. And now we're away. And it looks like a pretty even start from the front row. Tony Elias looks like he got a bit of a launch. But we'll see who bends it into turn 1 first. And it looks like Roger Hayden is going to take it.
Roger's going to get there. Tony's going to be up there in the second. Hayes gets out of the seat in third. You can see the battle going up the hill. He's just ahead of Cameron, and Josh Herron files in behind them. This is that little section. The first 5 guys all got away, kind of like we thought they might do. So now you can see those bikes twitching, Greg, as they come down this hill, getting some heat in these tires. Won't be hard, but that first lap is always a matter of just getting a little bit of heat. Now, these Yosh bikes, these 2 Yamahas right behind last year were kind of, we saw these 4 pulling away, and that's where the race was. Let's see if we have a 5th bike going in there, say 5 or 6 laps from now.
So 5 Superbikes lead the way, and then Bobby Fong was leading that train in the Superstock 1000. You can see him, different colored number plates, red backing on those Superstock 1000 machines in the Mazaz Superstock 1000 class. You talk about Bobby Fong because he won 2 races in that class. So here comes Roger Hayden, Yoshimura Suzuki, easily to distinguish with the yellow, or the orange on the front of his motorcycle versus the yellow of Tony Elias, his teammate. And Josh Hayes now in 3rd spot over Cameron Beaubier. But look at the drive that the number 2, Josh Herron's getting. That motorcycle, not as sophisticated electronically as the 4 bikes in front of him.
Yeah, he's got no traction control. He's got no wheelie control on that bike right now. So I know a little bit of what he's running with. Just going down the back straightaway there, I saw him sit up a little bit early behind Cameron in the draft. And right now, Josh Hayes rolling around the outside of Tony Elias as they go into turn 1. I'm wondering, it almost looked like Tony had a problem. They're going to keep an eye on that because Josh up to 2nd. Tony's holding on 3rd there. Josh Herron is up to 4th just in front of Cameron Beaubier.
Josh Hayes, no stranger of winning races here at Road Atlanta. Definitely a home track for him as he grew up racing in the Southeast some 20-plus years ago. Number 4 guy. I mean, I know he hates me saying it, but that's the reality of it. As Hayes, on that Monster Energy Yamaha, looked like he was going to try to make a bid past the Yoshimura Suzuki. Thinks better of it as Hayes up and out of the saddle for a second.
And you can see that. Sometimes it takes these tires a little bit of time to come in, and that's what I've noticed from all of our front runners have got it a little bit loose. We get a little bit further back there. Good looking Anthony Kaczynski coming out of turn 7. And look at how these guys are fanning out. Herron right now is trying so hard to get in that draft. Tony Elias as they come down in through turn 9, down the hill. Josh was so fast down here, Josh Hayes that is, so fast coming in here. I watched at the top of that hill the other day. Yeah, he's just...
Sorry, Tony.
No, all he's doing, Josh is just kind of being patient. Tony wants to get by. That's a hard place to make a move, and look what it's done. It's pulled Herron up alongside Elias. They go down.
Wow.
Josh Herron to third. Beaubier is trying to step underneath Elias.
Oh, that was really close. How close do you like it? Cam Beaubier forces the issue and shuffles the Spaniard back. So now Tony Elias in 5th spot. Josh Hayes still trying to hound and chase down the number 95 of Roger Hayden. So how about this? Right now we have a HelmetSound.com, Western Services Yamaha in 3rd place, and this is how it all unfolded.
Yeah, you can see Elias turned 10A and 10B, messed up a little bit, allowed Herron to get underneath him, and then opened up the door for Cameron Beaubier. When you're racing in a tight field, you can see Herron getting bucked out of the seat there, coming on the front straightaway out of that last corner. But when you're in this tight pack, you see Bobby Fong, Jake Lewis, Matthew Sculpture all coming across in those Superstock bikes right behind. These front 3, though, have gotten away just a little bit. Tony Elias has got a problem, Greg. I saw him look back earlier, but these front 3 are getting away, and Beaubier will go with them.
So I think the big question right now, looking at Tony Elias, race 1 winner, what's going on with his Yoshimura Suzuki?
Well, here you go. We might understand now why he's fallen back a little bit. He went through the grass at the top, made him late in here, ran back across the grass. Bobby Fong sitting up thinking, all right, gotta let him just kind of clean his program up here a little bit. So we'll see if Tony can try to run these guys back down.
Oh, look at Hayes getting really racy right there. He makes a big move on Roger Hayden. Hayden trying to square it up, but no. What an aggressive move by Josh Hayes, and he'll take over the lead. But now Josh Herron in his 2nd spot, and all of a sudden Roger, just like that, drops back to 4th.
You lose so much time in slow segments, and Rod's trying to fight back in that slow section that allowed both Herron and Beaubier to go by. That's also going to allow now Elias to close back up on the back of those guys as he just ran the fastest last split of the 3rd split of a lap. So Elias is going to claw his way back into this. But we got Josh Hayes and Josh Herron, 2 former teammates for the factory Yamaha team a bunch, 3-4 years ago, and they're back up in the front battling with each other once again.
What you're looking at right now, Josh Hayes, Josh Herron, Cam Beaubier. Between those 3 riders, we have 8 Superbike championships between those 3 riders. Each one of the 3 have at least 1 in their pocket. Hayes with 4, Herron with 1, and Beaubier with 2. Did I do that right? Did I do the math right?
That was
7. That'd be 7.
I'm not a math major, but yeah, that's 7. But it's good that you're able to do that. And,
I was like,
this guy's clawing his way back. Great Superstock battle back there, too. Hard to study that when you got these 5 guys all battling. These are the ones we want to see. Cameron Beaubier right now in the draft with Josh Herron as they head down the back straightaway.
I'm going to keep a close eye on Josh Herron's rear tire because without the aids of traction control, as this race wears on, we're only on lap 4 of 21. A function of the tire is it has to wear out. That's what the tire is designed to do. Josh Herron, is he going to be able to continue to get great drives with no traction control? We've seen him on lap 1, on lap 2, and so on. Just a little twitch coming from the rear end of the motorcycles. He tries to put a couple hundred horsepower down to the ground through that Dunlop rear slick.
Let's not forget that for the longest time, that guy out front, Josh Hayes, ran very little to no traction control. And I think if you were to talk to him now, it's still very minimal. So for Josh Herron to get used to a bike with 0 traction control, these bikes are still very rideable, the way the power is put down on the ground compared to where it was 10 years ago or more. These bikes are still very rideable. This Yamaha R1 is very faultless, as you can see with 3 of them up in the front right now. But I expect Herron to be there for most of the race, at least hounding these guys. And we'll see how the pace of the race starts to drop off. They're still in the 26 flats, 25.9 for Cameron that last lap. So the 2 Yoshimura Suzukis right now, we're going to see if they can try to claw their way back up to these 3 in the front.
Josh Hayes, Monster Energy Yamaha Factory Racing, R1, just like you can buy off the showroom floor. Also Josh Herron on that HelmetSound.com, Western Services Mean Yamaha, followed by Cameron Beaubier, the number 1 plate. So that's 3 Yamaha YZF R1s leading the way from a 2017 model GSXR 1000RR, the rare model that you can buy in the United States from Yoshimura Suzuki pilot Roger Hayden. And Tony Elias right behind them. It seems like Tony Elias is hanging back there, and we've known him to put in a late charge, as looks like David Anthony. So the 25 rider, David Anthony, on that Fly Racing Motul ADR Motorsports Kawasaki ZX-10R in the pits.
Yeah, and he had some problems even yesterday with his teammate Cameron Peterson, so it's a bummer to see those guys out. You can see how tight these guys run it up the hill. They run over that yellow line that signifies where pit entry comes onto the racetrack. These guys get those bikes turned incredibly fast at the beginning. Josh a little bit wide. Josh Hayes, that is, a little bit wide, runs over the paint coming down, and this group is going to start to slowly claw their way back, and I'm glad I'm glad what you said about Tony, because it's so true. We've seen him so many times where he falls back, Greg.
Yep.
Somewhere about lap 7, 8, 9, he just starts to claw them back in. I'm looking up at the screen right now. Hayes, ran the fastest third split last time, but the fastest guy on the track, 25.6, fastest lap of the race, was Roger Hayden.
So Roger Hayden last time by, but his teammate was pretty close, 25.8. And Tony Elias, and lap by lap, you can see that this group is closing up on each other.
Here you go, a little switchback action from turn 10A to 10B. This is a right-hander before they start heading up the hill, and you can see Cameron trying to dial that bike on, stand that bike up off the tire. The thing to look at the bumps, but look at how much he drives that rear tire in the ground and loads it, Greg, as he gets ready to go up over the top of that hill.
He uses his legs to absorb some of those bumps as well.
Absolutely, and Raj has made the move on Cameron up to third. So Raj isn't done here yet either. He passed Cameron going down into turn 10A, and this is all good stuff for the Yoshimura guys to get some extra data for this track. This is going to really help them. There'll be a lot of guys huddled around the computer tonight from that Yosh team.
Big wheelie from the number 2 of Josh Herron coming out of that corner. That allowed Roger Hayden to close up slightly on him. So now a little bit of a gap. As we take a look at a replay here, this is the pass for third, right-hand part of your screen.
This is where Raj Hayden just kind of let off the brakes. They got into turn 10A, made it hard for Cameron to turn in. That's what's going to make this pass really happen for Raj, and the fact that Cameron just isn't able to get that bike turned in as quickly because Raj is underneath him and does it perfectly.
As no, it looks like a pass for the lead. Is this going to be Herron? Josh Herron. Oh, wow. For a moment, it looked like Herron was going to try to make a pass for the lead. Now we have factory Yamaha versus privateer Yamaha as we head onto the back straightaway. Herron trying to get the power to the ground. And here comes the long drag race to turn 10A as his crew looks on. They knew that this was possible at the beginning of the year.
And he's in the draft well proper this time. He's just going to try to go on the outside of Josh Hayes. Josh Hayes is really good down in this section, though. I talked to him about that this morning and how he gets his body situated to the left before he gets down to the bottom of that hill. His bike gets the least upset of any of the front runners that I watched there for probably 20 minutes the other day when he was on a long run. It was amazing how good he would get into the bottom of that hill. That's going to come into a huge strength later on in the race. You can see that Herron was able to draft him. Now, one thing you pointed out, Greg, just now, you notice how much Josh Herron's bike is wheeling. That could definitely play an effect as the race goes on, just because it's going to tire him out maybe a little bit more than some of the other guys by not having those electronics the way he would like to have them right now. And that's something the team is hoping that they can improve on as the year continues to go here, maybe before VIR. But all this stuff, the Meat Motorsports bike looks incredible. Obviously, Richard Stamboli, Gary, a bunch of those guys, Will Walker, they're all down there working really hard on that bike.
Josh Hayes, 4-time Superbike champion in the class. Monster Energy Yamaha. As Davy Jones looks on for the Yoshimura Suzuki crew, Roger Hayden's main man, as you can see, they're taking a look at timing and scoring. Then they're very interested in the splits as well. As we have Hayes, Herron, Hayden, Bobier, and Elias all now covered up closely. Here's a look at the start.
Both our first two rows got off very even, especially the 5 guys that we're talking about right now leading the beginning of this race. But Tony got off to a great start right next to Raj. Raj kind of made it hard for him to turn in. The 2 Yamahas were right there. Herron actually makes a pass going up the hill somewhere there to get himself in. But all 5 of these bikes are glued back together at the front. And there goes Cameron Bobier underneath Raj as they go into the last corner.
Wow, so Bobier fighting back for position. That's for third. And it looks like that Josh Herron may have got a little bit of a gap to cover between himself and Josh Hayes as the fight continues for the final spot on the podium. So Roger Hayden with a nice tight line up the hill as Bobier just can't quite seem to get that motorcycle turned on the brakes.
Yeah, and the thing is these guys are all battling. They're all feeling each other out just a little bit. And we got 5 riders that you can cover with a blanket, which is awesome for our series, being able to see some good tight action. And but yeah, Raj and Cameron are going back. But if you notice how they're passing, Greg, it's done pretty respectful in the sense that they're not creating gaps to where they're not letting that front 2 just get away. I'm really interested to see if Raj can do anything on that Yosh bike as far as getting in the draft of the Yamahas. And Tony's just kind of still sitting back there wondering what he's got up his sleeve. I mean, we're not even, we're getting ready to be halfway done with this race, so we still got a ways to go.
So we have Josh Hayes, who I mentioned has won 4 Superbike titles in his career on that Monster Energy Yamaha. In second place right now, number 2, Josh Herron, who's on that HelmetSound.com Western Services Mean Yamaha. It's also noted that he is the reigning Superstock 1000 champion in the Pizzazz Superstock 1000 class. And this is exactly the way what the series is designed for, is to allow riders to progress through all the different classes. So not only is Josh Herron stepping up back into Superbike where he's won a national championship, but also his team as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And the guy who won the 600 Superstock Championship is also on Mean Motorsports. He's on 1000 Superstock is Bryce Prince, who's back in 11th place right now, getting used to a whole other displacement of motorcycle. But the guy in second, and all these guys here have so much experience on thousands. We've got a really experienced 5 riders up at the front right now, and I wouldn't want to bet on anybody right now to take this. The only thing I can tell you is this guy up in front, Josh Hayes, has been here and done that a bunch of times, and he has got his bike incredibly strong in a couple very important places, Greg. And that's going to be something that we're going to have to pay attention to as this race gets into the later laps.
One thing I know about Josh Herron is sometimes he can be a little on the impatient side, and if he has an opportunity to pass on the brakes, he will definitely force the issue. I haven't seen Herron be that aggressive on the brakes, which indicates to me one of two things. Either he's being patient, even though he knows he's the only privateer in this group. He knows that he could make a huge impact on this series if he can win this race, or that Josh Hayes is incredibly strong on the brakes and has his Yamaha set up to perfection.
Honestly, Josh Hayes is incredibly strong. As you see Herron just run a little bit wide. Will Roger be able to square him up and get underneath him as they come under the bridge? Did he square him up enough? I think Herron's going to be pretty good on the brakes. It was a small mistake by Herron as they enter 10A. You can see Josh Hayes has pushed the level up when they come into 10A because he is the best on the brakes at the end of that straightaway as of now. It's going to be very difficult to pass him as Raj has a look underneath Herron. But Herron has the tendency to be able to release the brake, and I think that what we're seeing right now is a more mature, more patient Josh Herron as we sit. Let's see now if he goes after Hayes. As you can see that little bit of gap. You see how it created? And look at Josh Herron going right after him to come back. We're going to see a fast first sector here for Josh Herron as he's closed down probably a half a second at the line. Exactly what it was. Half a second at the line, he's closed that gap right on the back of Josh Hayes now.
And look who's right on the back of this group. Back 3 there, battling for that 3rd place on the podium. It's Cameron Beaubier trying to get around Roger Hayden, but there is Tony Elias, who cleaned house when we went to COTA just last week, winning both races in fine style. Now we find ourselves here. Now, Tony Elias won race 1, came off of a 3-race win streak last year, but it was Cameron Beaubier who won race 2 here at Road Atlanta. So right now, those 2 race winners from last year don't look like they're in a great spot to try to win this race as Josh Hayes continues his domination down to turn 10 on the brakes, and also as he comes out from underneath the bridge here and down the hill, how good he looks.
And look how good his bike looks out of 10B. That is, when you get it down to where these last 3 or 4 corners in Atlanta, if you have your bike really dialed in and make it really hard to pass people, what it's going to cause is it's going to make it to where somebody's going to have to do something over aggressive, and I think that Josh Hayes really has that covered. Those in the last 3 or 4 sections or last 3 or 4 corners of this track. His bike looks so stable under acceleration, maybe more so than I've seen it in a while. So that team's been working really hard down there to get that bike where it's at.
Let me recap what's going on right here. Josh Hayes leads away from Josh Herron, Roger Hayden, Cameron Beaubier, Tony Elias. Bobby Fong's in 6th spot. He leads the Superstock battle, and right now he's got about 6 seconds over Matthew Stoltz and Jake Lewis, who's in 8th spot, 3rd in the Superstock 1000. And then we have Kyle Wyman and Jake Gagne in the Superbike class, Danny Eslick and Hayden Gillum fighting it out.
Cameron Beaubier just decided to move underneath Raj as they came up over the turn 5 hill there. He got a great drive. I saw him do it in a lap earlier. He's seeing these 2 guys kind of getting away a little bit. So Cameron's going to get his head down now, try to put in a quick lap. As they came up over the top of turn 5, Cameron was able to get just a little bit better drive and squeeze underneath Raj going into 6.
So then it's going to be a horsepower battle down that back straightaway. So it always is at Road Atlanta. Always a huge story, and Roger's going to be deep on the brakes, gets right and tighty to that apex. I don't know if that was Roger forcing the issue or if Cameron just can't get that bike slowed down.
Yeah, no, Raj looks really strong at the end of the back straightaway too. The thing is, it doesn't seem like he's able to get on the back of these guys coming out of turn 7, the front 2 that is, the way that he's able to get on the back of Cameron as they go down the back straight when Cameron's leading. And Raj goes into turn 1 extremely tight there, trying to make something happen underneath Josh Herron. Look at this battle for Superstock. Bobby Fong with Skultz right behind him, and Jake Lewis, who struggled a little bit earlier this weekend. I believe you talked to him a little bit, Greg. But look where he's at on that new 2017 Suzuki. Those guys are battling. We got great battles all the way through.
So that battle actually just a couple tenths of a second difference, raging on only 6 seconds behind this front battle. That's incredible at this late stage in the race with 9 laps to go to have Superstock 1000s only 6 seconds behind the battle in this one. It's still Hayes leading the way from Herron and Roger Hayden in third spot.
And Herron's got the measure of these guys down through the S's, up over 5. It really looks like his bike works well. Problem is that Josh gets down this back straightaway, gets out of 7, incredible. You're going to look here. I want you folks to pay attention to watch Josh Herron use his legs as he comes up over this curve. See how his butt's off the seat. He's loading those legs and keeping his weight, trying to go forward as much as he can. And it was a great shot by our camera guys to get that shot.
Things tidying up once again, as now we're working on about 8 laps to go when Hayes comes across the line. As long as he can make it down this hill. He's been a demon on the brakes as Josh Herron seems like his motorcycle's getting a little bit upset coming over that hill.
And that's where electronics are going to be a big key. Coming up over the top of that rise, he runs a little bit wide. Look, Roger's got a run on him. Roger's going to try to do something with him here in turn 1. Let's have a look.
So there goes Roger Hayden up in the second spot. He sends Josh Herron back in, and Tony Elias now by Cameron Beaubier. So Beaubier talked about it at the top of the show with Terry Lee. I'm going to hang around and I'm going to see what's what. But at this point, it looks like Cam Beaubier, he's got a lot of work to do if he thinks he's going to be able to win this race because he's got a lot of great riders to pass.
And this is where Josh Hayes pulls away from these guys. Herron's able to go with him, but right now Herron cannot go with him. So this is where there could be a little bit of a break. Roger's got to get his head down, go after Hayes the best he can, but he's going to have Herron wanting to get right back past. Herron really has shown to me he's the only one that can go with Josh Hayes down through the S's.
With a race update, let's go to Terry Lee. Terry, what's going on?
Yeah, Bryce Prince came in and he was shaking his head. He was not very happy about this, but an oil leak in his bike. They noticed it, and I talked to somebody on the team, and he said that thankfully the engine hasn't blown, but they are done for the day.
All right, thanks. So Bryce Prince out of the race in his Superstock 1000 bid as we continue to watch the replay of what happened on this one.
Yeah, Herron just got out of the last corner on the white line and probably wasn't able to put as much throttle in as Tony Elias now has gotten his way and worked past Josh Herron also. This is what we've noticed. Look at as they start coming down the hill. Elias goes really tight as they come down that hill and will make it really hard. Cameron Beaubier now trying to go underneath Herron. So just like that, Herron's gone from 2nd to 5th on 1 lap, and these other boys now are trying to go forward, and that's really helping Josh Hayes try to pull away just a little bit. And I'm looking again in that last segment, Greg. 24.5, 24.8, 24.9. Hayes is quicker by 3/10 of a second in that last split. All through here, they can kind of run with him, but that last segment, he's really good.
So Josh Hayes leading the way on that Monster Energy Yamalube Yamaha, just ahead of a couple of Yoshimura Suzukis. Each one of these teams coming into Road Atlanta with something new to learn. The Yoshimura Suzuki team, pretty much with everything to learn because they hadn't been here. But the Yamaha factory team, they're coming in here with new electronics packages, trying to figure it all out. There's a great opportunity with MotoAmerica, the way these races are formatted. Race number one, Tony Elias goes up the inside. So Tony Elias will take over 2nd spot, at least for the moment, on Roger Hayden. So a little pass right there as we see the riders come up over the hill.
And that's a big surprise pass. That's going to shock Roger that that just happened. But Tony Elias is the guy that if he gets close enough to Josh Hayes, he will go into a braking battle. And you can see Cameron Beaubier extremely tight, going by Roger Hayden as they come down into turn 10A.
Yeah,
it's starting to get racy with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, so he got that motorcycle slowed down and turned when he needed to. So Beaubier now getting it nice and tidy as they head down to the bottom of the hill. This is the short drag to the start-finish line as Tony Elias now setting his sights on Josh Hayes. And as they come across the line, Hayes with a 26.8, Tony Elias 26 flat, and Cameron Beaubier 25.9. So Beaubier, the fastest rider last lap around on the racetrack.
And that's not a surprise. This kid is so strong at the end of races. But now, this is where the fireworks are going to start. I've been saying all year, all 4 of these guys get along pretty well. The thing is that the turn 10, that can be where things change friendships, because when you're going down into that corner, it gets to the point where you just got to get up alongside of somebody and block them from being able to turn in. Tony will be that guy that won't be afraid to let the brake off and get himself run underneath Josh Hayes. And we're getting into this section of the track now where Tony Elias, as you see Cameron Beaubier, he is going to go
Oh, nice!
That's a great move. He's strong there, but watch Tony come right back at him in turn 7.
There he goes. So back and forth they go, but Tony's going to sacrifice a little on drive as Cameron tries to whack the throttle wide open. The electronics trying to keep up, just a little bit of a bobble. So that's going to give Hayes just a little bit of a gap. Another one as the laps continue to wind down now. 5.5 laps remain in this one. Better breathe, folks, because if you don't, you're going to pass out, because it's going to be like this all the way to the end. Oh, look for a moment if Tony Elias is going to try to make a move. Looked like a bit of a mistake from Tony.
It was a bit of a mistake. Is Cameron going to be able to square him up and go underneath him? I think he's going to try it. He's going to have a go, Greg.
On the brakes, are you kidding me? A little bit of contact, possibly Tony off the racetrack. So Beaubier forcing the issue again in that corner, and it's going to set Tony Elias all that work back. And now, wow, what a move, and great job by Tony to keep it on 2 wheels.
And here we go. The gloves are going to start to come off, and we're going to know about this stuff. I've been saying it for a long time. Cameron Beaubier just decides, I'm going to get to the apex before you are. Lets off the brakes, gets it inside, just enough to push Tony offline. Tony now will run some fast laps. He was very lucky not to lose the front there. That's experience right there. And even Tom Halverson's got to react to that one also. But Cameron Beaubier is really strong in that last corner, but you can see we've lost a little contact with Heron there in 5th, but look at the gap that's opened up now. Cameron Beaubier is going to try to do something with his teammate as they go into turn 6. The 2 Yamaha boys have started to stretch away.
Josh Hayes last time around dropped another half a second off his time, so 26.3 for Hayes last go around, and Beaubier at a 26.5. If Beaubier takes a look over his shoulder and he sees that small gap back to the Ochimira Suzuki's, this might be that time where Beaubier goes, okay, let me hang out here for a lap or two and see what's up. Or is he going to strike down into turn number 10? Takes a little bit of inside line. Nope, gets on the brake lever and thinks better of it. So, boy, I'll tell you what, man, it's going to have to be an absolute heart pounder on that motorcycle for Cam Beaubier to try to make a move on the last lap if it comes down to that in turn 10.
I think he's going to have a go here.
Oh! No!
It's gonna be here, Greg, or turn 6. I think he's gonna.
Did he just play his cards too early, though?
I don't know if he's played. I think that was a little bit of a test run for him. But while these two guys are doing that, those 2 Yosh bikes, look at Tony. He is going to be he is fuming underneath that helmet right now. If he gets on the back of those Yamahas, he just ran Raj wide there.
Stood him up.
He's got one thing in mind. He wants to get back on the back of that number 1 right now, and he stood his teammate up to do that. The thing is I think Cameron's pass is going to try to be in turn 6, if anywhere. I think turn 10, he's realized that Josh is pretty good down in the turn 10A area, so it's going to have to come as a surprise move somewhere else.
Right now, I don't think that Cam Beaubier, with his focus forward on his teammate, realizes that there's a 24 coming after him. So here comes the number 1, down into 6, not this go-around anyway.
Josh's bike is so good under brake. I've watched that bike for the last year or two really move around under heavy braking. But look who's right on the back of him. This is going to be a fast lap for Tony Elias, as he's now kind of pushed Raj a little bit wide in turn 1. All he's thought about since he ran off the grass 2 laps ago is, I got to get back on the back of these guys. And this is what he does so well. Look, Cameron's going to have another go, but this is going to be a very difficult place for him to do it.
Down into turn 10A and 10B as we switch it back. Now, Hayes gets on those binders late, but Cameron was able to drift into the corner a little bit quicker and get on the back. We know they had an incident last year where Beaubier ran into the back of him, or
actually Josh
ran in the back of Cameron, taking
2
different lines.
Yep.
2 different lines last year and took those riders out. And it took Cameron a long time to claw his way back into that title contention. Here comes Cameron. He looks like he's going to make a move up the inside. Josh's bike protesting under braking, but still gets it down. Here comes Tony Elias.
Elias is going to do it to Cameron in turn 7 if he can't get by Josh. If Cameron can't get by Josh in turn 6, he's going to do it this lap too. Yeah. That's my little prediction. If he can just be close enough coming out of turn 5, he's going to surprise Cameron with a little dive down the inside as they enter turn 7. So
Tony was over half a second quicker, by the way, that last lap.
A lot of things can happen in these next 2 or 3 corners. Right now, he's not quite close enough to do something with him. And Cameron got a great drive. Look at that. Turn 6 is where I said it was probably going to happen, and he's able to just outdrive Josh
as
they go through 5. And now Josh, here comes Elias. Nope, he's going to think better of it there. He's going to get a double draft from those Yamahas down the back straightaway. Now this is Hayes' first chance to have a look at what somebody else has going into turn 10.
Leading almost the whole way, Josh Hayes is now come under fire from Tony Elias as Cameron Beaubier made the move up out of turn number 5. And look at Hayes. He's going side by side with Tony Elias. We know Elias is a demon on the brakes, but Hayes also his first test against Cameron Beaubier into 10A and 10B. And boy, it wasn't like Hayes closed up at all. And now Hayes trying to get the drive out. Maybe Cameron saw something in Hayes' bike. Maybe a little bit of wheel spin. Maybe Hayes losing some grip, because Josh Hayes, it looked like he had this race well in hand. but Beaubier has hung back this entire race and made the moves that he needed to make. As now up the inside goes Tony Elias, and he stands Josh Hayes up. So Hayes side by side. So now it's on between Tony Elias and Cam Beaubier after Beaubier did the dirty work a couple laps ago to Tony Elias. Man, this is going to get really chippy here with about a lap and a half to go.
There's no question that there will be a move made on Cameron. Cameron has rode absolutely superb this race. As far back as 5th early on, stayed patient. I think that's what's so amazing about watching him ride, how patient he can be. He knows what his race pace can be. He knows what his tires are always going to be doing underneath him. He's dropped his pace down right now, back into the low 26.2 that last lap. But he's got a little angry Spanish guy right behind him who's going to do everything he can to claw his way back to where when they come across start-finish line, he's going to be able to try to do something with him on this last lap.
So how quickly fortunes turn as now Cameron Beaubier leads from Tony Elias. Tony Elias has been strong on the brakes. That's what he's known for. But Cam Beaubier looks like he's found a little something extra. But look at Tony Elias just reel him back in. The question is, can he get that Suzuki turn? Oh my goodness, Jason, this might be the fastest lap of the race. Tony Elias is trying to get right on the back of Cam Beaubier as we're set for the final lap of this race. So the white flag is flying. This is it for all the marbles here in race number 1 at Road Atlanta. And Tony Elias going for it.
Where's it going to happen? 25.5, like you called, Greg. 25.5 on that last lap. He just wants to get stuck on the back of that guy.
Fastest lap of the race.
And it's going to have to be a spot where it's going to come as a surprise. Now, Cameron probably went across the line there with a +0 on his board. He knows somebody's behind him. He's got to start to figure out that something's going to happen down the end of that back straightaway. My thinking is that Tony's going to surprise him maybe a little bit early, do a little dive bomb move on him. As you can see, Tony's trying extremely hard right now to get close enough to. He'll let the brakes off between 6 and 7 and try to do something with Cameron there, stand him up, slow his progress down the back straightaway, whatever it takes. Let's see if he does that.
So here we go. This is the final time through 7 on this race. Tony Elias is within a bike length, but it looks like Cameron got the gas open a little bit sooner, and we know that Yamaha's got huge legs down the back straightaway. So here we go. This is going to be the braking duel into turn number 10. Can Tony Elias get into the draft? He's there. Is he going to pull out early and try to give him a go? Here he goes. He's up, side by side they go. Tony Elias now with the lead of the race. Can he hold on to it? Here comes Cam Beaubier. Trying to square him up. He goes up the inside. Here we go down to the bottom of the hill. It's Beaubier with the lead. Tony Elias getting sideways. Oh, and it looks like Cam Beaubier is going to take the win. What an amazing race and a victory. 0.2 of a second, the separator for Cameron Beaubier and Tony Elias as Beaubier takes the 3rd race of the season.
Oh, wow. Matthew Schultz is coming across the line to win Superstock over Bobby Fong. Bobby got just thrown up out of the air coming onto that front straightaway. 3rd place is going to be Jake Lewis in Superstock, that is. And, this looks like Kaczynski, big crash.
On the last lap.
That's up in the top of turn 3 area there.
Massive props to Matthew Schultz, who's going to take that Yamalu Westby Racing Yamaha to the top. Home track for that team. And look at Kaczynski.
Lost the front real early way back there in the left-hander and did a lot of sliding on the grass. Hopefully he's not hurt. Doesn't look like he is, which is good. And what an amazing race. Boy, if it gets like this for the whole year, it's going to be fun to watch these guys all battle with each other. It'll be interesting to see the comments even after this race. But it's going to take good, hard racing like that, Greg, to win this championship this year because we got too many good riders and too much good machinery to see anything but that.
Fastest top speed for Cam Beaubier, 184 miles per hour. Do that in a draft. So it's Cam Beaubier, Tony Elias, Josh Hayes, as we saw quite a battle in the last 2 corners of this race on this racetrack at Road Atlanta. 0.287 the margin of victory. Here's a replay.
And Tony gets in there really fast, and you can see here what ends up happening is he's not able to turn the bike as sharp as he would like. The bike's going to run out a little bit. Now, if you look at the angle of Cameron, he's got a little bit more entry to open up. He's going to square the bike back up underneath Tony. Tony's trying his best to get the power to the ground, but he's on the edge of the tire, Greg. Now he's squared up Cameron, but where it gets really exciting is down here, because I know Elias wants to pay him back so hard for earlier in that lap. And, Cameron didn't do anything wrong, by the way, in that earlier pass, but these two guys put on a great show. Yeah, our perspective is he let off the brakes and got to the apex of the turn, and we've seen Tony do that plenty of times. Those guys are just racing very difficult, very hard with each other, but that's a big statement by Cameron Beaubier today that he was able to take this win. That's a big win for him.
So Cameron Beaubier takes victory here at Road Atlanta race number 1. And the good news for the Yoshimura Suzuki team and Josh Hayes, they get to do it again tomorrow. Wow, what a race. Less than 0.3 of a second the margin of victory in this one. It was quite a battle between Cam Beaubier and Tony Elias. On the other side of this break, we're going to hear from them, so don't go anywhere. MotoAmerica on beIN Sports was presented by Dunlop and the all-new Sport Max Q3 Plus. Now you don't have to sacrifice mileage to get top performance. Dunlop Q3 Plus. And powered by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. All right, welcome back to Road Atlanta after the MotoAmerica Superbike and Pizzazz Superstock 1000 classes have concluded here in what was an absolutely incredible race. And our riders are down in Parc Ferme. So here's Terry Lee.
Thanks, guys. Cameron, congratulations on the win. Were you the most patient rider out there today?
I wouldn't say about most patient. Those guys were dicing it up pretty good. I was trying to be patient, wait my time a little bit, and then once 10 laps winded down, I just wanted to try to push to the front. But those Josh was running a good pace up front. Slowly worked my way through those guys, and man, me and Tony were going back and forth on the last lap. It was pretty good. Tony's really strong on the brakes, and I was able to brake with him today, so I was happy about that. Big thanks to my Monster Energy Yamaha Yamalube bike. My R1's on rails around here, and yeah, I love Road Atlanta. It's a good place.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, he did a great job today. I mean, absolutely fantastic job by Cam Beaubier. I mean, it looked like he was the thinking man's racer today.
Yeah, no, there's no question. And like he said, all these guys have been trying to close the gap on Tony as far as in the braking zones go, because he showed that dominance last year, and that's something these guys are going to have to start thinking about. When you know he's behind you, he's going to make a move. He's going to do something. And Cameron, you can see him looking over. You can see him also moving his body over to the left, so that if any part of anything touches Tony, it will be his body before the bike. That's why you see riders, if you saw there, he moved over. But just being able to do what he did there was incredible. And let's get back down to Tony with Terry Lee.
Tony, what an incredible fight back for you. Congratulations on second. Tell me about that race.
Yes, one side I'm happy because second is good. We finish and we take points. But I'm angry because I wanted to win. Congrats Cam, because he fight well in the last braking areas. But then in another side, I have good memory. I will remember this. Twice, not only one, twice out of the track. Then this is not nice. I had a big effort. I risk a lot to come back. At the beginning, takes 12 laps to come back. At the end, takes 4 laps. I'm not happy about that. Thanks to my team, because they work really hard. They give me a really good bike. We need to work a little bit more, but we didn't have more time to work here. Then it's okay, but. Nothing. Congratulations, everybody. Josh did a great race, very clean. Just this. Remember, I have memory.
Best of luck for tomorrow.
Well,
thank you very much.
All right, that's that on that one. And by the way, 21-lap race on lap 20. He
I
did
love
the
it.
fastest
I love
lap
it. We
of the
need
race.
it. I've been saying it. Like Cameron says, I'm getting to the apex before, and Tony gets run off the track and run wide. Now I'll say this: Tony does. He'll run into corners, but I have not seen him make contact. I've not seen him do anything. All Cameron did there is he got in there a little hard and just tried to make an aggressive move. And but we've been saying it, and Tony was very eloquent in his speech there with how he went about what he did there, and he's going to have a memory on this. Let's get down to Terry with Josh Hayes.
Thanks, guys. Josh, first podium of the season after leading for most of it. How did it go there at the last part?
Like we talked about before, I said, you know what, if I'm in the race for it, I'm going to be a pretty happy guy. So I put together a pretty solid race. I needed a little something extra at the end when those boys were coming. So we'll go back to the truck, back to the drawing board. I get a night to think about it and a warm-up to see if we can come up with a game plan. But for the most part, I felt like I rode a pretty good race. I had a bike that could win. Whatever they did a little better. I don't know. You know, we spin a lot on the back straightaway in 6th gear going over that hill, and I don't know if me pushing the air for most of the race, maybe I beat the tire up a little more than I needed to, but I still am more comfortable leading, so if I can do it, I'm going to. I just got to figure out how to make the end of the race. I need 3 more laps. 3 more laps.
Maybe tomorrow.
That's the idea. That's the plan. So thankful I've got this Yamaha R1 and a team behind me, and I'm going to come out here tomorrow swinging the best I can.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And he will. I mean, that's the thing, is that if he can get close enough in those braking zones, you'll see another big number 4 trying to run down the inside of people. But Josh has always been the guy that likes to lead. Now he's, you know, strategy-wise, he's got 4 different guys he's got to think about when he's out there racing, Greg, not just 1 or 2. And he's got a couple guys that are gonna push the aggression. And I know that Josh has plenty of that in him. It's just a matter of Josh just being comfortable on the bike. And it just seems like now he's starting to get a little bit better. And he'll go back with his crew tonight and make some changes. And hopefully we'll see a better Josh Hayes even tomorrow.
And Josh Hayes in the final year of his Yamaha contract. And he is, in his mind, fighting for a job for next year. He doesn't want to retire just yet. But he is... Yamaha, I think, is thinking that it's time to make some room for some of their super sport riders to move up into Superbike next year. And so Hayes is definitely thinking about it. Here are the results as Cam Beaubier takes that win over Tony Elias and Josh Hayes. Roger Hayden, bit of a surprise for him back there in 4th as he lost a bit of touch. Josh Herron had an unbelievable race until I think really the tire performance started to suffer, and that's where electronics really help out. Matthew Skultz beating Bobby Fong there by about 0.4 of a second. Bobby Fong will not be happy after getting the double victory in COTA, but congratulations to Jake Lewis. Jake Lewis, who comes out of nowhere to get that 8th place finish. So congratulations to the M4 X-Star Suzuki rider. Kyle Wyman, another Superbike in 9th spot, having a great run at it.
Absolutely. Good to see Kyle get a result here. Looking at the point standings now, Cameron Beaubier jumps to the top. Roger Hayden 2nd. I'm sorry, Tony Elias is on top. I missed it there, Greg.
Yeah.
Cameron Beaubier 2nd. 17
graphics,
points
Jason.
back. New graphics threw me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Roger Hayden 3rd. Bobby Fong 4th overall. And Matthew Skultz 5th. And you see Josh made a big jump today up to 6th. Still 39 points back, suffering from that first race at COTA.
Well, again, race inside of a race. That's the overall points for the Moto Superbike class. And there is, of course, that race inside the race in Superstock 1000. Another beautiful look at the track. And don't forget, coming up, Moto World Superbike on Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's from TT in Assen. Race number 2. You don't want to miss that right here on beIN Sports, followed directly by our live coverage. It's the MotoAmerica Kawasaki pre-race from Road Atlanta, followed by round 2. We got Super Sport Race 2 and the Moto Superbike Race 2. You don't want to miss any of that. It all starts at 2 o'clock right here on beIN Sports. Here is a shot of our podium coming up here in just a second as Cam Beaubier takes the victory over Tony Elias and Josh Hayes and the rest of the field as they enjoy the celebrations here at Road Atlanta. They'll be thinking about this tonight, and they're going to come back and race again. We'll see you tomorrow. For Jason and Terry and Han, I'm Craig. We'll see you from Road Atlanta real soon.
Badly you wanted to win this one.
Yeah, I'm okay back there. I'll stay where I'm at.
Just 2 times so far, but maybe tomorrow, huh?
Maybe tomorrow will be another day. We will fight again. We will learn from today. My team worked hard to give me the best. We needed maybe more time to set up mode, but the bike was really good. We had a great battles. Congrats to Cam and Josh because they has been really strong. The last braking area, it has been really good. Good job for Cameron, but I have memory. I've been out 2 times out of the track before, and we will see what happens tomorrow.
All right, Tony Elias from Yoshimura Suzuki. Cameron Beaubier, you almost finished me off with that pass down there last time, my friend. Congratulations in the biggest way.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, you know, just a big thanks to my Monster Energy Yamaha, Yamaha team. They gave me an awesome bike this week, and I'm just having a lot of fun riding around here at Road Atlanta. Big thanks to all you fans for coming out. Yeah, thanks to Bell and Alpine Stars for keeping me safe and ready to go get them tomorrow. You know, that was a really tough race. I struggled a little bit at the beginning. Josh was setting a really good pace at the beginning, and the whole race, man. Once 10 laps hit, I was starting to make my way through the field, and yeah, I want to apologize to Tony. I made a couple tough passes on him, getting in a little hot, and gonna go get him tomorrow.
All right, Cameron Beaubier. How much better can it get? I don't know if I can stand it. Maybe you can, but we'll see tomorrow if these guys can put on yet another show. How about it?